Let's look into a case study to determine the lease term. Case 3.1, Assessment of lease term. Only lessee has a termination option. A customer is considering entering into a lease for equipment to manufacture the widgets. The lease has 5-year term with an option exercisable by the lessee only to extend the lease for additional 2 years. This means that there is effectively a termination option for the lessee at the end of year 5, but not the lessor. The monthly rent payments escalate at an industry accepted rate based on inflation plus a margin. This escalation also applies to the additional 2 years period if the lessee exercises its extension option. The customer operates in a remote location where the cost of shipping and installation for the piece of equipment are significant. So the key points in this case is: number one, the lease is for 5 terms and the lessee has an option to extend it for additional 2 years. And the last point is customer operates in a remote location. So if he has to enter into a new lease, then he has to incur significant cost of shipping and installation of equipment. So in that case, there is an huge economic benefit for the lessee if he goes ahead with extension of additional 2 years of the lease. Yeah, let's look what the assessment looks like. The customer lacks a direct contract specific economic incentive to extend the lease given that lease payments are at market rate throughout the period of the lease. So when it comes to lease payments, there is no much incentive because it increases as per the mass market rate even in year 6 and year 7. However, all relevant facts and circumstances that create an economic benefit incentive for the customer to exercise or not to exercise options must be considered. This therefore includes entity-specific factors such as the cost the customer would incur to obtain a suitable replacement asset, the importance of the asset to customers' operations, and the availability of suitable replacement assets. As the customer operates in a remote location, which is inherently increases the cost of not extending a lease for a key piece of equipment needed in its business due to installation and transportation cost of obtaining a replacement, it concludes that it is reasonably certain that the extension option would be exercised, and therefore the lease term is estimated on the commencement of the lease to be 7 years. So what this case study important the important point for this case study is all the relevant facts and circumstances has to be considered if the lessee receives an economic incentive by extending the lease. So if there is a significant economic incentive by for the lessee if extending an option, then the extended period has to be added to the lease term. So in this case it is 2 years, so the total lease term would be 5 plus 2, 7 years.